Yeah, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had.
Hi beautiful, welcome to High Vibe Honey for the week of the 21st of October 2019. I'm your host, Gala Darling, and this week we are tapping on reconnecting with your inner child. Now, I know that phrase gets a lot of play and often in kind of like a cheesy way, but inner child shit is really important. And one of the reasons why it's so important is because who you were as a child is who you truly are. And I believe that if you're like feeling stuck in some place, or you're not sure where to put your energy, or you're having trouble with your career or your life purpose, looking back at who you were as a child is really instrumental. It'll really help you unlock some essential truths about who you are and what you like and what you are like in order to figure it out. But a lot of us have kind of like put up this wall against who we were as a little kid. We're not really in touch with that person anymore. We don't even really understand it or know it. So the tapping this week is about getting back in touch with that little person inside of you and like just remembering how joyful you were as a child, because all children are joyful and that's a good place to be. So before we get into the cards for the week, I would love for you to subscribe to this channel, to like this video. I'll wait while you do it. Thank you. And to share this video with anyone that you think would appreciate it or benefit from it, anyone that you want to introduce tapping to. Like, why not just be like, watch this crazy bitch, she's cool. And maybe their life will change. I mean, it's worth a shot, right? Our first card of the week is Judgment in the reverse position. Now, judgment doesn't come up for us very often and is certainly not in the reverse position. And this follows on very clearly from last week. Last week was about not knowing what to do, feeling stuck, being unsure. And my encouragement to you was to start looking at yourself from a different perspective. Start to, investigate those beliefs that you have. See what is holding you back. What stories are you telling yourself? So with judgment in the reverse position, what this tells me is that you are experiencing a lot of self-doubt and a lot of self-judgment. You are not convinced of your power. You are not convinced that you can get the things done that you really desire. You are judging yourself, maybe even for having those desires, maybe even for wanting the things that you want. You're like, but you shouldn't need that, or that's not feminist, or that's not right, or that's not this, blah, 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 whatever. We always have this internal monologue going. And it's up to us as to whether we listen to it and then let it roll our life, or whether we decide that we want to do what's really true to who we are and go down that path instead, which is definitely the path less traveled. Most people don't do that. Most people let other people's opinions and their inner monologue, which is usually your most critical parent, it's like yammering in your ear all the time. It's just running constantly. So with judgment in the reverse position, it really just tells me that you're feeling this like doubt and judgment of yourself, and you're like in this really shitty place. And maybe that's a follow on from what was going on last week, where you were feeling stuck and you weren't sure what to do, and you were thinking about maybe releasing something, but you weren't sure if it was like the right time to let go of that thing. So this card is really just like the you're being too hard on yourself card. And because you're being so hard on yourself, you're actually missing opportunities. You are not open to the wonder of life. You are not seeing the miracles. You are not open to new experiences, new people, new opportunities, because you're so in your head and you're like focused on the fact that like you're not good enough and you shouldn't want it anyway, and all these things that you're telling yourself. You're really missing out on the juiciness of life. So what this card tells us is that you're really being your own worst enemy right now, and that's just not a good place to be. So it's time to start being kind to yourself, and we're gonna get into how to do that with the next card. The other thing that this card says is that you might be reluctant to let go of something. You might be really holding on to something that you think you should have, or you made a promise so you don't want to break it, or you just are afraid of what life will look like if you let this thing go. But this card is telling us like it's time to release the grip. It's time to like let that go. And it could be a person, a job, an identity, a belief system. it could be an exercise regime. It could be anything. But this card is just telling us like, it's time for you to start to like lift one finger at a time off the ledge that you're clinging to, and, you know, just like allow things to move through you a little bit more. Our second card of the week is the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is a really lovely card. It's about feeling that sense of joy. And even in like the book that I refer to, it says naive optimism. I don't think there's such a thing as naive optimism. I think it's all optimism. And it's also about really reconnecting with that inner child, which is why we're going to do this tapping on inner child stuff today. And when you are in connection with who you were when you were little, you will feel those good feelings of nostalgia. You know, you might be reminded of what you liked to do when you were 6 years old. Like, what was your favorite hobby? What was the thing that you like would run home from school to do every day that you were so excited about? For some people, it might be ballet class. For some people, it might be playing on a computer. For some people, it might be building a time machine out of old video game parts, which is what I liked to do when I was that old. So what we want to do this week is really spend some time reconnecting with who we were. And if you are like not sure how to do this, the tapping will really help. But another thing that I would recommend is to start looking at old photos of yourself when you were a kid. And these photos of you, not necessarily a school picture, because I don't think those really tell us anything about your personality, but more like the candid photos, the photos from Halloween or from birthday parties or just you in your house growing up will tell you so much about who you were, what you liked, what you loved to do, and kind of your personality. Like, I was always dressed to the nines, and I was also like stubbornly independent. I have this photo of me at, it must be like my 5th birthday party, where I'm literally pouting because my mother insisted on cutting the cake with a huge fucking knife and she wouldn't let me do it. And I wanted to cut the cake myself because it's my birthday, bitch. But that just even that little detail tells me so much about who I am. And that's an inherent part of my DNA. And so I think that if you look through some of these childhood photos that you have, you will be reminded too of the ways in which you are amazing and great and creative. And also the ways that like maybe you're a pain in the ass in some little ways. And that's okay, because that's who you truly are. A few weeks ago, I had Jessica Lanyardo on the Gala Darling show, and she was so amazing. If you haven't watched the episode, definitely check it out. She's an astrologer with like 25 years of experience, and she is so brilliant. And before we filmed the episode, she was like, let me just look at your chart. And we ended up talking for like an hour, and she read the shit out of me. And what she was telling me about was the importance of true self-acceptance. The fact that if you don't fully accept who you are, which means, yeah, you're creative, you're awesome, you're smart, you're strong, all those things. But you also have to accept the parts of you that are like annoying as fuck. The parts about you that are difficult. The parts about you that some people are going to be like, God damn. Because if you don't fully accept those parts of yourself, you're going to think they're not good. You're going to hide them away. But the thing is that when you get into a relationship, for example, eventually that person is going to see those parts of you. So you don't want to like spring some surprise on them. Like, oh, actually, I hate having people around me all the time. Like, some people, they're just not going to jive with that. And then you've kind of wasted maybe months because they thought that you were someone that you weren't. And real self-acceptance is the key to manifesting the things that you really want. Because if you don't fully accept who you are, then you're not going to fully desire the things that you really desire. So these things all work together in tandem. And that's why, you know, this inner child work is so important too. Like, all those things about you when you were little that were great or weird or whatever, like, those should be embraced. Like, I was a little dictator when I was a kid. I would make up my own games and I would make everyone play them. Like, that's just how it was. I'm not going to play it the way that you play it because it's bullshit. I'm going to tell you how to play it. For example, we used to play tag, right? But tag was really boring to me. So I renamed it. It was called Jack the Ripper. And the person who was it would have to chase people, then stab, like fake stab them, and then then when you were tagged, you would die in the field. You would die in the field. And I didn't want to play ordinary tag because it wasn't interesting. I wanted to play Jack the Ripper. So that's who the fuck I am. And I accept it. Like, I'm weird and it's cool and I like that. And yeah, I'm bossy. And yeah, I'm really independent. And yeah, I'm stubborn. And if you tell me to do something, I'm probably not going to do it because I don't like that. And me fully accepting that about myself is a key to manifesting the things that I really want. So those little like revelatory things I've told you, I hope that they have like jogged your memory too about your weird quirks from when you were a child, the things that you loved, the ways in which you were different to your friends, because that's who you truly are. And that is a beautiful thing. Now, I know this has all been quite heavy. We're talking about a lot of stuff, right? We're talking about, judgment and self-doubt and blah, 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 and reconnecting with your inner child. But here is the good news. The third card that we've pulled for this week is the World, also known as the World, but I like to call it the World. And the World card is about completion, achievement, success, all of these things like coming together. And what I believe is this message from the week is if you can step out of that place of self-doubt, if you can connect with who you truly are and employ a little bit of simple nostalgia to remember who you are, you will have everything that you desire. The other thing that the World card says is it can be an end to singledom. If you are single and you're looking to mingle, it can be the sign that you have finally attracted someone who's a really good match for you, someone who is the right person. But generally the World card is about contentedness and satisfaction and feeling good, which is the whole point, right? Feeling good is the whole point. So this card really does bode well, even though those first two, the first one card is like what the fuck is going on here? But cards number 2 and 3, I believe, hold the key to unlocking all that stuff and like making it all make sense and feeling really good again. If you have been feeling stuck, if you have been feeling full of doubt, if you have been judging yourself for the things that you want, like what's the point? The whole world will judge you. You might as well not do it to yourself. Why would you be your own enemy? That fucking sucks. Give it up. Just stop. Just stop right now. So let's do some tapping on connecting with your inner child. I think this is gonna feel really good. And drink some water, get really hydrated, and we will start on the top of the head. Today, I am opening the door to my inner child. The little 6-year-old version of me who is still at the core of everything that I do. They're still inside of me, feeling the way that they used to feel, doing the things that they used to do, and generally feeling pretty good about life. Even though my childhood wasn't perfect, I know that connecting with my inner child has some really big clues about who I am, what I love to do, and even some keys to self-acceptance. Because children don't care about being right or about being politically correct or about doing what everyone else thinks they should do. Children just do whatever they want to do. So my inner child is literally the unadulterated version of me. It is me in my purest form. Like orange juice that's not made from concentrate. It's the real shit. So whenever I'm feeling stuck or not sure about who I am or not sure about where I should put my attention, I'm going to take a moment to reconnect with my inner child. And I can do this any way that feels good to me. I can look at old photos. I can close my eyes and visualize. I can read a childhood diary. Or I can tap to bring them up to the surface. But today I am letting myself know that my inner child is safe. That my inner child is loved. And that whatever my inner child wants to do is totally okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's actually really great. And maybe it would be helpful for me to take my inner child out on a date. I will wake up in the morning and I will ask myself, inner child, what do you feel like doing today? And the answers might surprise me. My inner child might want to go and feed the ducks. My inner child might want 3 ice cream sundaes. My inner child might want to go bike riding. Or maybe they just want to spend the day in bed with some books. Whatever it is, it's perfectly okay. And doing these things as an adult is another way to let my inner self know that I am okay, that I am acceptable, and that I am truly lovable as I am. Because when we reject our inner child's desires, slowly but surely, we get the message that what we want isn't okay. And that who we are isn't okay. And even though I may have felt this in the past, even though other people may have told me this in the past, I am willing to let that all go. It's time for me to release any of that lingering unworthiness. Because it's definitely not serving me. It's definitely not helping me get to where I want to get to. So even though in the past I may have judged myself, and other people may have judged me too, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. And maybe even anyone else who contributed to me feeling this way. Today, I am connected with my inner child. And so it is. Okay, deep breath in, hold at the top, and let it go. So while you were doing that, my imagining is that you were seeing some of the things that your inner child would like to do when you take him or her or they out on a date. So I would like you to tell us what your inner child's dream day would be. Is it feeding the ducks? Is it eating a bowl of ice cream? Is it reading a bunch of books or going bike riding? Is it just hanging out by yourself or going swimming or, I don't know, whatever you like, trying on different outfits? whatever that thing is, I would love for you to tell us about it in the comments below. And I don't want you to just tell us about it. Telling us about it is the first step. The second step is to actually go out and do it. Treat your inner child to a day of doing whatever the fuck they want. It's like Louise Hay talks about doing this all the time. She says that once a month she takes her inner child out on a date and she does whatever she really wants to do. And it's a way of reconnecting with that childlike enthusiasm inside of you. It's a way of letting yourself know that everything about you is acceptable and great and lovable. And this all ties back into letting go of that self-doubt, letting go of that self-judgment, and really feeling that joyful optimism so that you can feel some direction around where you want to go. And having all of that acceptance helps you to manifest the things that you really want to. So there's a million good reasons for doing this. So leave your comment below. I would really love to hear what you come up with. I'm sure some of you are going to have some crazy shit. If one of you doesn't write down Bouncy Castle Day, I'm going to be really disappointed. So write down what you want to do, and then I hope that you go out and do that. If not this week, then in the next couple of weeks, just like make that a priority. I think you'll really feel a shift when you do it, and it will be so powerful. So I love you very much, and I will see you back here next week.